Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the March 9th meeting of the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners. I'll make a motion to open the meeting. It is now 7:02.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Let's please stand to salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, we're going to go into executive session. Motion to go into executive session for matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion,
So moved.
discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll be back in about 20 minutes.
Right, wasn't Panera his old line mate on the Blackhawks?
Okay, welcome back
I don't think so.
from executive session.
True, yeah, he's too young.
Takes us to Jamie's report. Jamie.
Thank you. For tonight, the main item I have is our property casualty insurance renewal. Our renewal date is April 1st, 2023. So as I mentioned at the last meeting, we had previously met with our broker, Arthur J. Gallagher, the chief and I, and Commissioner Ranalone, to discuss the quotes we were anticipating. We received one quote from McNeil and Company. The premium on our expiring policy was approximately $126,000, and the proposed premium for the upcoming
Guys,
year.
we got a lady speaking up here, please.
This is so exciting. Proposed premium for the upcoming year is $137,200. I sent around copies of the proposal as well as a summary of the coverages and the deductibles related to the coverages. Everything is identical between the expiring policy and the proposed policy, and it represents approximately an 8.6% increase in the premium, which we did anticipate there would be an increase in the premium this year. So the board has that. There is a motion that was provided in the event that the board is ready to accept this proposal. There is one other item that had come up with the carrier for the board's consideration. So a few months ago when we had the issue with our check, where we had a check that was stolen, and it was washed and somebody tried to cash it for a different amount, issue to a different person. Luckily, there was no liability to us because we had protection in place at the bank that the bank flagged it and we were able to tell them not to cash it. We have since put additional protections in place at the bank. However, at the time, we had asked McNeil, is this something that would have been covered under our insurance if the bank hadn't caught it, or if not, is it something that can be covered? So they did come back to us and they said we can add, if we want, it's called forgery and alternation coverage, and it would cover basically that exact scenario. It is $35 for the year for a limit up to $500,000. So if that's something the board wants to add, we can tell, or $25 for a limit of $250,000. Again, we have protections in place at the bank so that it shouldn't happen, but if that's something just for extra security, obviously it's a nominal fee for that. So that was something that they mentioned that they could add on to the policy if we were interested.
All right, thanks, Jimmy. I mean, I would keep the bank one going, and
What's that?
I would keep the one with the bank.
Oh, absolutely,
Now,
yeah.
But for $35 a year, if you think it's worth whatever added protection.
$3 a month, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. With Treasury Direct, so we still have $2.5 million invested in 4-week Treasury bills. The rates are around 4.6% currently. The bills that we have now will mature later this month on March 21st. And at that time, we will cease investments until our upcoming tax collection in May. So I do not plan to reinvest at that time, just to make sure we have enough operating funds to cover those in-between months. As far as our year-end audit, we've supplied our auditors with all the information they've asked for. They'll be conducting our audit starting next week. It's going to be conducted virtually, starting on March 14th. And we have received an extension of time to file our AUD, which is our annual update document, with New York State until May 1st. So that typically comes after the audit. We need the audited financials to be able to submit that report. So we were able to get an extension, which is common practice. We do that most years. And then we anticipate receiving our tax collection in the full amount in early May.
That's it. Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you.
So you're fresh in my mind. I'll read off two motions for Jamie, for us. One is the payment of bills. So be it resolved that the Board of Fire Commissioners approves to pay the bills and vouchers as presented. The board has been supplied with one set of bills and one credit card bill. Chief Tween has reviewed all prior to the meeting, except certiorari claims and those specifically marked as reviewed by the treasurer. Treasurer requested the board approve the following. Warrant 1, dated 3/9/23 for $403,526.33. Warrant 2, dated 3/9/23 for $22,659.86. Credit card bill dated 3/18/23 for $3,126.64 for a total of $429,000, $312.83. I'll make a motion.
Second it.
I'll call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi?
Yes.
Commissioner Laurie?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranalone?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
No.
Commissioner Carla?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next, the insurance policy renewal that Jamie discussed. Be resolved that the Board of Fire Commissioners authorizes the chief and the treasurer to execute the paperwork necessary to facilitate the renewal of the general liability insurance policy offered by Arthur J. Gallagher Risk Management Services, LLC, effective April 1st, 2023, at the cost of $137,200 for the year. Arch Insurance Group will be the carrier. Can I get a second?
Second it.
I'll call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi?
Aye.
Commissioner Laurie?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranalone?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
Yes.
Commissioner Carla?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Great, thank you. Brings us over to, I think, the chief's report.
Thank you, Commissioner. Monthly activity report for February 2023. Total alarm activity, 312 alarms, 4 fire-related, 189 EMS or rescue, and mutual aid was given 2 times, once to the Village of Scarsdale and once to Pelham Manor. I want to thank Assistant Chief Bruce Yazzo for filling in for me during the last meeting while I was attending a training session. Vehicle and maintenance continues through the use of outside vendors, and the board was advised the part-time mechanic position was approved by Westchester County Civil Service. Tim Dalton returned to work from medical leave on 2/23/23. His maintenance reports were emailed to the board on March 6, 2023. Fire prevention and code enforcement activities continue with numerous plan reviews and inspections, and the fire prevention reports were emailed to the board on March 6, 2023. Currently, there are 5 members out on long-term absence, and the 5 probationary firefighter candidates are going through the onboarding process and will begin the Career Fire Academy on March 21st, 2023. The Fire Academy has requested that Eastchester detail an officer to the upcoming class that will have 46 probationary career firefighters attending. I would recommend the board detail a lieutenant up there for the upcoming class, which will tentatively graduate in late July. I would also recommend to the board to promote a temporary lieutenant if there is a lieutenant detailed up to the academy, and another lieutenant is out on long-term absence. Being down 2 of the 10 lieutenants may make scheduling difficulty once the lieutenant's vacations begin. Lieutenants Del Bracco and Greenbaum are currently in the FDNY First Line Supervisor Training Program, and they will complete their training on March 24th. A board member, normally the chairman or myself, will need to sign the finalized contract with B&B Contracting Group on behalf of the district for the next phase of construction, which includes heating systems, ADA bathroom renovations and construction, and the installation of an ADA-compliant ramp at the entrance of the firehouse. I provided a resolution to the board if they want to move forward with that. The 3 police departments recently updated their radio equipment, and our current radios can no longer communicate on their frequencies. I have attached a quote for 3 Harris XL 200P multiband portable radios for a total of $18,220.77, so that the captains, the assistant chief, and myself will be able to communicate with the local police departments in an emergency. A resolution for that purchase has also been provided to the board. And the board was also sent a proposal on March 1st through an email for scope of work and a quote from ESS Motorola radios for replacing in each of the 5 firehouses the alerting system amplifiers, the speakers, and adding volume control knobs where necessary. If the speakers are mounted up high, the volume control knobs will be down at eye level so that they can raise or lower the frequency, the volume as necessary. The current speakers and amplifiers, the current speakers are most likely 20 years or older, and the amplifiers have been replaced maybe every 5 or so years because they wear out. So I would like to upgrade that part of the radio system, the alerting system, and money was put in the budget prior, and it was, what do you call it, encumbered? We have money encumbered for this project. It was all part of replacing the in-house radios. So this is the next phase of that project to upgrade the radio system. So the board was provided the quote and the scope of work, exactly what's going to be done. And I provided a resolution to the board so we can move forward on that.
But that's the quote dated 2/14 that you sent to us?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, from ESS. Yeah, there was a quote and then a second thing. There was several pages that explained what they were going to do in each of the firehouses. Finally, I didn't prior bring this up to the board. I didn't realize. On May 10th and 11th, PERMA is holding their annual member conference. I request permission to use the department credit card for one night's lodging for $199. Credit card policy is conflicted on this expense, so I seek the board's approval for the charge. The credit card policy, in one point, it says, district-issued credit cards are not to be used for the purchase of alcoholic beverages or for travel or travel-related expenses. But then on the second page, it says, when I sign off, I shall not make any personal purchases except those made in performance of my service of the district, such as travel expenses. So on one side, it says it can't be used for travel expenses, but then on the other side, it says I can use it for travel expenses. So just so that there's no confusion, I'm requesting permission to use a credit card for one night at the permit conference.
Sounds good.
All right, so we'll take care of that.
And then we'll have to take care of clarifying the credit card policy. We'll run that by the attorneys. And that's the end of my report, Commissioner.
Thanks, Chief. Esong, please.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioners. For community outreach, our website metrics for the month of February, 896 visits. Once again, the top performing page was the hiring process page. For social media, we had 10 posts, and I provided again the for the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter handles, should anyone want to start following us. March newsletter will be sent out on Monday, March 13th. Our office received 4 foils, which are being processed or have been processed. A lot of headway has been made on the records project. Today at Station 3, we identified 77 boxes that we're able to destroy. So pretty much we'll have half that room back to start putting more inactive records in at Station 3. Station 5, we were able to visit as well with fire prevention, and we were able to probably put together a project for them if they wanted to have a few shelves to go ahead and put their plans on, and to also dispose of some of their plans. That's something that we can incorporate into the project at Station 5. I believe there will be extra funding to put towards Station 5 after completion of Station 3, so I'll go ahead and visit that with my advisors at New York State Archives. And once again, just continuing research for the grant application for scanning software once we get to that stage after disposal of obsolete records. And other than that, regular business at the office for the onboarding process for the 5 probationary firefighters. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Esong. All right, so that brings us to a few motions here. First one, on the A1A document for B&B, be it resolved that the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners authorizes, you can sign, Chief.
Okay.
Chief Tween to sign on behalf of the district, the A1A doc, A104-2017 agreement between owner and contractor between the district and B&B Contracting Group LLC for the Chester Heights Fire Station located at 10 Oregon Avenue, Bronxville, New York. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
We'll call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi?
Aye.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranalone?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
No.
Commissioner Carlo?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, new radios for interagency communications. Be it resolved that the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners authorizes Chief Tween to purchase 3 Harris XL-200P multiband portable radios at the Police Department contract pricing for a total of $18,220.77. Can I get a second?
Second.
I'll call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi?
Aye.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner Randalone?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
Yes.
Commissioner Carla?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next, Fire Station PA upgrade quote. Be resolved that the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners authorizes Chief Tween to purchase the radio equipment as per the quote dated 2/14/23 from ESS Inc., Elmsford, for $15,701.77. Can I get a second?
Second.
I'll give it to Lori. I'll call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi?
Aye.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner Randalone?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
Yes.
Commissioner Carla?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Lastly, well, not lastly, but next, Lieutenant in Spring Academy. Be resolved that the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners authorizes Chief Tween to detail fire officers to the Spring 2023 Career Chiefs Fire Academy as he determines necessary. Can I get a second?
Second.
I'll call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi?
Aye.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner Randalone?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
Yes.
Commissioner Carla?
Aye.
Motion carried.
We'll skip to the chief's credit card here. Motion to authorize Chief Tween to use the department-issued credit card to pay $199 for one-night lodging to attend the Perma Workers' Comp Annual Member Conference in May. Can I get a second?
Second.
I'll call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi?
Aye.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner Randalone?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
Yes.
Commissioner Carla?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next, I'm going to make a motion to have Jamie request a current lieutenant list from Civil Service. Can I get a second on that?
Second.
I'll call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi?
Aye.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner Randalone?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
Yes.
Commissioner Carla?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, the mechanic position that we've been discussing. So be it resolved that the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners makes a conditional offer of part-time employment to Hank Henginger for the position of Senior Automotive Mechanic, Westchester County Civil Service Title 0484-06. This offer is contingent upon passing post-offer pre-employment screening, including a medical examination and background check. The position has a salary of $75 an hour, with hours not to exceed 19 hours per week. The position is pension eligible under the New York State and local retirement system. Can I get a second?
Second.
I'll call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi?
Aye.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner Randalone?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
Yes.
Commissioner Carla?
Aye.
Motion carried.
We can discuss that. We're going to shelve that for now.
Okay.
Can we shelve that? All right, we're going to discuss that later date, the workout equipment that was part of the agenda. So we're going to shelve that for now. That leaves us to just mentioning future meeting dates. Our next one is April 13th at Town Hall here. That being said, any comments from Local 916?
Thank you. I just want to congratulate, first off, Stephen Reinalone and Sean Stewart on their recent retirement. I also want to congratulate the new hires. You guys did that orientation. I think that was a success, and I want to thank all that was involved in that. I think you guys got some great candidates, so I want to wish them well. Just a question on the temporary lieutenant. You kind of just went over it quickly. You guys are going off the list, the established list to,
Well, we haven't
could you,
decided yet if we're going to, we just right now are asking for the list.
I'm sorry?
We're just right now requesting the list. We're not-
Okay, got
we haven't-
it.
We haven't
Okay.
decided whether or not we're going to go down that road yet.
Okay, got it. But if it does go down that road, will each of the three on the list be getting an interview?
We'll make a decision, and then you'll see the decision, and
Okay.
then you can react to it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mike, you're up. Public comments? Michael?
Excuse me before for talking out of turn when Jamie was speaking. Jamie, accept my apology. I'm sorry. Okay, and the board, please. Do we know how long Station 4 is going to, when it's going to open, or what's the time frame on it?
So I was just authorized to sign a contract with B&B Construction Group.
Right.
So once they, have the contract, they should give us a construction schedule, so then I'll be able to give a better idea.
Okay.
They did say there may be a long lead time on some of the heating systems. They said 5 to 6 months, but, by the time they get that in, it's probably gonna be July anyway, so we're not gonna be worried about the heat at that point. But yeah, so for, once they get the bathrooms done and that handicap accessible, concrete going up to the front door, I'm hoping we can move in. If there's, there could be a time where they're not doing anything because they're waiting for heating equipment, whether it's the steam boiler or the heat pump that's gonna be taking care of the dorm area.
Okay.
I'm hoping that we will be able to move back in, but I would have to discuss that with them, because if they are installing it above where the guys are sleeping, they probably can't be in the dormitory at that point.
Right.
So,
Okay. Did they hire, we spoke last time at the last meeting about a clerk of the works. You weren't here, Chief. Did they hire somebody or retain somebody? I think it's in the minutes. You were
Oh, for
looking at that?
like a GC?
Yeah.
We had someone in mind, but we didn't.
Yeah, he backed out. John had a guy and he backed out.
But okay, if he backed out, did we look further?
No, I think we're gonna discuss that.
Pardon?
We're going to discuss that. We need to have somebody overseeing the job, I think.
You
as
do need
opposed to the
somebody
chief
down
or-
there, you know?
for Chester Heights, we've already signed the contracts. They're not gonna make anything different. For the next project, the
Well-
Bronxville Firehouse,
I'm
that's
just
where I would
thinking-
look for it, because then you put it in the contract when we
I'm
go
just
out
thinking
for
also,
bid.
just to have someone, as opposed to
You know,
you or, let's say.
Yeah,
assistant chief.
that's,
You know, Chief, it's somebody that will come back to the public and say, this is what's going on. The house has been empty a long time now.
No, I understand
That house
that.
could have been condemned and a new house could have been constructed.
We're as frustrated as the
Yeah,
public
I-
is,
I know you are.
We were hoping,
know
it said in
you
the contract, the job would be done in 90 days,
No, not to throw fire and water on top
Mm-hmm.
of anything, but if you had a clerk of the works, the water pipe wouldn't have broken in the basement. That would have been retained and it would have been shut off. When is that going to be repaired in the firehouse?
So,
The main.
because it's a public building, we have to get 3 quotes, and we had 2 contractors come by. One contractor who did the apparatus floor and did the outside ramp, they've been on the project the whole time. He told me a month ago he was gonna give me a quote, and he hasn't given me a quote yet. Timmy was able to get a contractor in to give us a quote for I think it was about 30, it was either 15 or 20 grand, something like that. So it's under the amount that we would have to go out for public bid and put it in the newspaper for 45 days. So we're trying to get contractors to come and give us a quote. Contractors come, they look at the job, and they won't give us a quote, they're not interested. So it's frustrating.
There's got to be somebody that would,
It
take this
can't
job.
just be a local guy, it has to be prevailing wage or union labor, so that's the difficult part. It's a small little job for these big companies that have union plumbers,
Is it a small job, Chief, or do we have to rip up the pad out
we have to
front?
do about 5 feet of the pad, and it's not where the apparatus comes out, because as the rig pulls out, the driveway opens up like
Right.
that. And so it's kind of over here by the flagpole side. The water is at the end of the curtain drain that's out by the front of the driveway. So, so they do, I measured it, if they go straight in, it's 8 feet of concrete. If they cut over to the side and then come along the grass and dirt, it's only 6 feet. So, they will have to dig, and who knows, they may be able to go under the concrete. I'm not a contractor. I know they can do that sometimes with sidewalks. They can go underneath rather than breaking it up. It depends on how far under they have to go.
So that would all be all new copper pipe from the building to the...
Yeah, it would be, the quote that we did get was a 2-inch copper line to go from the curb valve that's in our driveway to the basement where the water meter is. So it would be all brand-new copper pipe, so.
Chief, this is no fault of the past contractor?
The driveway was fine for 4 months, so unless we can prove that it was their negligence, it would be hard. If it happened right away, I would say it was them, but that concrete's been done for months and months. So I think it would be hard to prove that they were negligent and that it went,
Well,
So-
not to blame anybody negligent, but if you had a clerk of the works, you would have things in place. You can't be responsible for going down there to turn off the water, or the deputy chief. You have to run the department, So, you need somebody overseeing what's going on, protecting the Eastchester Fire District and the residents of Eastchester, to see what's going on down there. A gentleman or a woman could come and give a report once a month when you have your meeting. This is where we are and this is what's going on. I don't know why we're being hesitant about it. Just do it, I know you got to investigate and look for people, but I'm sure we could find someone that could be qualified to do this.
You're retired, aren't you, Michael?
Pardon?
You're retired, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm retired. Not for
COVID
this.
has held everything up, Mike.
Not for this. I'm
You want to do
retired.
it? Oh, you live right there, come
You
on.
want me to come there?
Would you be interested, seriously?
Yeah, if you want to talk, yeah.
Yeah.
There
Be
you
the
go.
clerk of the works.
Why not? You don't mind? Because there still has to be a lot of work to be done there.
There is a lot of
Me, Commissioner Ranelon, and Commissioner Sarasi, and Assistant Chief and the Union President, we were all down there the other day along with
No, you
Lieutenant
were.
Costanza. There's a lot of work to be
There's a
done
lot
there.
of work to be done there,
Yes.
inside that building. You
Yes.
know, You can't keep giving it to the chief. The chief, has to run this department.
Absolutely.
And the deputy chief has to run it.
So-
The chief does a very good job of running this department.
Absolutely.
The public doesn't know it, and I'm going to say it, Brian. You don't go home. You're at that firehouse from morning to night. I bet you don't even have dinner with your family, because you'll have dinner sitting
Oh,
at
we
your
have the
desk.
assistant chief now, so.
Don't say anything.
Okay.
Don't
Right?
answer
I mean,
that.
we're very fortunate and very lucky to have somebody like that in the deputy chief, but you need a clerk of the works. You need somebody to say, this isn't being done right, the cement's not being poured right, the piping's not being put in right. You need somebody there.
Mike, could we all talk with you, seriously? You seem like you're very interested in that community part, because I know you live there, and if I was in your position, I'd be concerned too.
Very interesting. If you stand on that pad and you look straight out that pad, I live on Lockwood, and I see what goes on. My house is straight ahead of the pad.
Okay.
It's got to be taken care of.
Absolutely.
And we need to have that house reopened again.
Yes.
You can't keep keeping these firefighters inside the back of a schoolhouse. That's like, living in a sugar shack, okay?
Yep.
I mean, it's not fair. It's not fair to them, and it's not fair to the Chester Heights, it's not fair to the association that runs that building down there. Kids can't go down and see what's going on. It's a tough situation, but it has to be handled, and you have to.
We'll be in contact with you,
Okay.
Mike.
You sure you don't want to do it? You'll get it paid as much as we get paid, the commissioners.
I'm not looking to get paid. As being in a community that I live there.
You're not gonna do that for nothing, Mike.
That
You're gonna
lives,
put a lot
that
of
I
hours
live there, I mean, if you hire the clerk of the works, I would work along with the clerk of the works. I just want to see that house open. I want to see the firefighters back
there's
there,
The clerk of the work has a lot of work to do, Mike, and if you're willing to take the position, we could work something out.
There's a lot of work. There's papers to be filed with the
Right.
state, with the county,
Absolutely. Yes.
But you look for a clerk of the works. Look and see what's going on, okay? And Chief Reed,
So normally the engineer architect it does that. When we had the other phase of the project, when we had FSI as the architects, they were there every single week. And they would come back with a report and they would say, this was defective. They're painting when it's below freezing. They did the windows, they didn't put the right capping on the windows.
But if
So
there was-
the architect that we have now hasn't been doing that. He's only been coming out if there's a problem. So,
Well, I'll tell you,
we've already addressed that with the next project.
I'll tell you, if you didn't pay his check and we submitted his check to you, his bill to you, and said, we're holding off on it, I guarantee you he'd be here to say something.
I think Jamie said we haven't received one bill from him yet, so.
Well,
I think he's
that
waiting
tells
for
you,
the
that
project
tells,
to be done.
that tells you something. If he hasn't sent the bill in, it tells you, start looking.
Right, but you need an engineer or somebody with experience or qualified to read
Right, you need a
plans and stuff like
certified
that.
engineer to take that building on, even
But that's
all
what I'm
the
saying, we
buildings.
have an engineer, so we're not gonna hire another engineer to oversee that engineer.
Where is the engineer's reports? Does he submit them to the board? Does he bring them here? You guys put this out? We don't see it. The public doesn't see it, Brian.
Well, when there's a problem, we address it. We had the water in the footings, right? So we had to hire how would you say, basically a water expert engineer, right? A hydraulic engineer had to
right.
come in and look at the job and take certain measurements and, all that kind of stuff and make a determination if
Right.
it was safe to pour the concrete in
Right.
those footings.
Was there borings done down there? Was the concrete measured, to see how thickness of the concrete is? There's a lot of things that we have to look at. I'm not an expert
You
on
can't
that.
do that mid-project. Once the project
Well,
is
you do it
awarded, the
before- you do-
contractor's
you do-
only gonna
well,
do
then
what
if-
he's getting
if you
paid
had
to
a-
do.
If you had a clerk of the works, the clerk would tell you before, we're gonna pour the cement, we're gonna do a boring, we're gonna see where the water table is, and so forth and so on.
That's what we're doing with the Bronxville plan, so we've
We're not-
learned
but-
from these
but
projects.
we're talking about Chester Heights. We're putting a lot
We're
of
not
money
gonna do
into that.
borings for the bathrooms,
We're
right? We
putting-
know a bathroom, converting an office to a bathroom should be pretty straightforward, right? The heating
Think so?
system. I hope so,
Once
I
you
don't
open,
know.
once, you never know what's there once you open the floor and once you open the wall. You know what's going on.
No, they know there's an electrical panel in the wall between the office and the sorry. That has to be moved, that has to be relocated. The wall is actually moving to make the bathroom, I think the office is bigger than the bathroom, so the wall between those two is actually coming down. And, so that's all in the plans for the next phase of this B&B contracting.
But you're bringing it to us. If you had a clerk of the works, he would bring it to the public. I'm not saying that you're very knowledgeable in what you do, but you need somebody to take that position on, not only for Chester Heights, but for all the firehouses when something is going to be, a project is going to be addressed. Okay? I mean, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. And this is constructive criticism, this is not criticizing anybody, okay? But it has to be addressed, okay? No project goes as long as this. You can knock down a house and put a house up as long as this has been going on.
I mean, the North End Firehouse was 3 years or longer, so it's.
Shouldn't have been. You know that.
It's
You know
different
that.
with public works. It's not like you're building your house and you can hire whoever you want.
No, I
Public works
understand that.
projects have to go out for bids, and then you want to change it, it's like,
Well,
all that kind of stuff takes time.
You do have a county, and you can get the county involved to help you out. I'm sure there's people in the
We deal
county.
with the town,
you know.
when it comes to electrical, I think the county or the state does the inspections for that.
The town does the inspection, and also the state, I believe, does the inspection on certain things, electrical and stuff like that.
Right, yeah, I think there's the board of underwriters, I think, comes
Right.
in for the electrical inspections. But,
Okay.
yeah, we work with J. King, directly, and, all the permits are filed. They don't charge us for the permits because they own the property, but we do get all the proper permits
Who
for
owns
the
the
project.
property? The town owns the
The
property.
town owns 4 of the 5 firehouses. We only own the firehouse in Bronxville. We own that property and we own the building. The other 4 locations, if we stop using them as a firehouse, they revert back to the town.
Well, then, if you're saying something like that, why don't you check with the building inspector of the town and see if he knows of somebody who could be a clerk of the works, who could be certified in doing some of this work and being on the job. I mean, every month we're going through the same thing. We're having, this isn't being done, that's being done, this isn't being done. Let's put this to bed and go in the right direction. Follow the yellow brick road. And it's just constructive criticism. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Mike.
Any other public comments from the public? No. Commissioner comments? We'll start.
My monthly activity report. On February 6th, 7th, 8th, and 23rd, along with Commissioners Laurie and Sarasi, we interviewed 30 candidates for the position of firefighter. And on February 23rd, we appointed 5 of the candidates to start as of March 18th. On February 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, I attended rescue rope training at Iona University in Bronxville. On February 20, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, I attended apartment hose pack and hose stretching training also at Iona. February 22nd was my brother Stephen's last day on the job after 29 and a half years of service. He's currently hiking on the Appalachian Trail, 2,200 miles. He expects to finish in about 4 to 5 months.
4 to 5 months, you said?
Yep.
Oh, man.
On March 3rd, attended a CME class at Station 3, taught by firefighter Wiggleman. March 8th, along with Tim Dalton, maintenance mechanic, the chief, assistant chief, John Howard, president of the union, and Commissioners Laurie and Sarasi. We checked out the condition at Station 4 to see if there was any other work that needed to be done prior to the firefighters moving in there, and there is. March 9th, today, attended a joint training session between the fire department, EVAC, and a nursing class at Iona. They had a hazmat, well, not a hazmat, but a mass casualty fire situation in the dormitory, and it was very well attended, and a lot of stuff was learned there. And that's it.
Hey, Paul?
Yeah, like just a public awareness thing I want to bring out about these electric bikes, the lithium batteries. Folks who have them, please do not keep them charged overnight. You see on the news every day these things are exploding. I mean, you got to be very cautious. The visual of it. I mean, living in an apartment, I'm sure it's tough to charge them, but you know, you don't have to go the whole way. Keep an eye on it. I can't say too much more about them. Just that it's a very dangerous thing. The house, put it outside and charge it. I don't know what else to do. I'm sure, again, you see on the news every day these things are just exploding and then causing enormous fires. So be diligent when you're charging your electric bikes.
A lot of the problem with that is they use substandard replacement batteries. So you can buy like an original equipment battery for like $300 for a scooter, or you could get one off eBay or Amazon for like $100. You go for the $100 ones, those are the ones that are catching on fire. Just about every time, it's either a replacement charger that's not up to UL standards or a replacement battery pack that's not up to UL standards. So those cheaper things are the ones
Well, I guess
causing the problem.
people are not aware of it because of all these explosions. That's what it is.
Right, right. Yeah, we've already had inquiries from apartment buildings. They, you know, as part of their condo rules, they want to start making them that you can't bring bikes and scooters into the apartment buildings without having them checked by like the co-op board to make sure that there's no fake batteries or, you know, cheaper quality batteries in them to avoid the fires. So I think that's going to be a bigger problem in the future. They've been having many fires in the city. You know, every week you hear about a fire, and, you know, they've already had a few fatal fires, and it's a big problem, and it's, you know, only going to get worse.
Yep.
Just as the chief was saying, myself and former Deputy Chief Tom Vichy went to a class in Portchester Firehouse last Thursday night, and they had a gentleman from the county. He spoke about an hour and a half on that. And Portchester's finding a big problem with a lot of people bringing them in their apartments. And at first, they were just keeping them in the hallways of their apartments. Now they're bringing them right into their apartments. And the chief up there is really getting concerned, and he can't invade their privacy, but they found out that a lot of them are in these apartments. They're asking the people to please remove them, find a storage place for them, keep them out of the hallways, keep them out of their apartments, he says, but he's getting nowhere with it. And these things are a dangerous thing, so just take note of it, please.
Any comments there, Mr. Keating?
Definitely not.
I just have two minor things. So this Sunday, of course, is the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Eastchester, big annual fair. It's a great parade, so I think it steps off at 3 o'clock at ICS. I know someone's gonna be marching in it, or some taking their cars.
I'll be driving the trolley.
The trolley, okay, that's Sunday. And just want to close tonight's meeting after we adjourn, and with a moment of silence for Louis Satrell Sr. He passed away at the end of January 28. He was, he spent 38 years with Mount Vernon Fire Department.
yeah.
His son, of course, is the Bronxville Chief of Police. He's got family. His grandson's on the job here. So we didn't get a chance. I was at not last month's meeting, so I didn't get a chance to bring it up to Mr. Ranalone to mention. So, better late than never. But I'd like to have just a moment of silence after we adjourn tonight's meeting.
And I neglected to congratulate Steve Ranalone and Sean Stewart on their retirements from the district. So congratulations to both of them. I hope they have a long, healthy retirement.
Isn't Steve coming back and doing the union work for John? No?
I think he's out of
Get a
touch
job.
for the next few months.
Chief, how many retirees that we have that have been retired over 20 years? I think we have a couple of them, right?
Yeah, I'd have to look into that.
A couple of them are close to the 3-digit marks.
Yeah, there's a few old timers that
Yeah.
are still, yeah.
They're well, very close to the 100 mark.
Okay, so there being no further business, I make a motion to adjourn. And
Make a
moment of
motion to
silence.
adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you.